There's a hidden truth about addiction that most people are never told. It's a key that can set you free, but you'll only discover it if you stay to the very end. Don't turn away, because missing this could mean being trapped forever. You probably don't realize how much of your life is shaped by an unseen inner conflict. Addiction is more than just smoking, drinking, overeating, or mindlessly scrolling. It's an ancient war within you, a struggle between what you crave and what you truly need, between easy comfort and genuine courage, between the darkness of your shadow and the truth of your authentic self. Carl Jung saw addiction not as a character flaw, but as a symptom, a message from the depths of the soul. He once wrote that people will go to any length, no matter how illogical, to avoid confronting their own soul. It's not a lack of effort or willpower that keeps you stuck. It's the deep-seated fear of meeting your true self in the quiet darkness. Imagine you're alone in your room late at night, the rest of the world asleep. You feel a familiar pull, a quiet urge towards something that promises to numb the pain. You know it won't last, but for a moment, you just want to feel some relief. So you light the cigarette, you open the app, or you pour the drink. You lose yourself for a while, hoping to forget what you're so desperately trying not to feel. But after the momentary high comes the inevitable crash, the shame, and the silent vow to never do it again. The question echoes, why do I keep doing this even when I know the outcome? Most people view their cravings as enemies to be conquered or suppressed. But Jung's philosophy offers a radical perspective. He believed that every compulsion and every urge is a messenger, a part of your psyche attempting to convey a truth that your conscious mind has refused to acknowledge. Consider this. If you were perfectly at peace and complete, what would you need to escape or numb? Cravings are the language your soul uses to express its suffering. Addiction isn't merely about chemical dependence or behavioral patterns. It's about what's missing in your life. It's not a test of strength, but a puzzle of meaning. This is why so many people fail. They focus on discipline, but never ask, what is this desire really trying to tell me? What part of myself have I locked away, hoping it would vanish? In Jungian psychology, the shadow is everything you've rejected, denied, or are too ashamed to admit, even to yourself. The more you hide this shadow, the more powerful it becomes. Addiction is the shadow's favorite disguise. It presents itself as a source of comfort, but thrives on your silence. You think, I just want to unwind. I just want to feel good. Or, I just want to stop thinking for a bit. But beneath that thought, the shadow whispers, you're not enough. You're alone. You'll never change. Every addiction is a mask for a deeper pain. Most people spend their lives adjusting this mask, never realizing that true transformation only begins when you have the courage to look beneath it. We live in a culture obsessed with self-control, with slogans like, just say no, or be strong. But if that worked, you wouldn't be here. Jung would say that the shadow isn't defeated by force, it's transformed by attention. Imagine trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The harder you push it down, the more forcefully it resists. This is how most people live, suppressing, denying, and fighting. Eventually, the beach ball explodes to the surface with even greater force. You can't just tough it out forever. The craving always returns. The real question isn't how to suppress the craving, but how to understand it. This is the moment when everything changes. The next time you feel the urge, don't run or fight it. Just notice it. Pause and ask, what am I truly seeking right now? Is it comfort, distraction, or is it love? This is the start of self-mastery, observing the craving without becoming the craving. You may notice a story playing in your mind. Perhaps it's fear, loneliness, or a feeling that you're missing out. Maybe it's a voice telling you that you'll never be free. But as you simply notice these thoughts, you create a gap, a space where you can make a choice. Most people never get this far. They're too busy, too numb, or too afraid. They would rather stay in the dark than risk seeing what's hidden there. But you, right now, have already started the journey, because curiosity is the first act of rebellion against addiction's power. Jung believed that every addiction and every shadow is an invitation. If you listen closely, your craving is asking, what have you refused to feel? What part of you needs to be heard, healed, or welcomed home? Healing doesn't begin by declaring war on yourself. It starts by making peace with your own wounds, your own desires, and your own forgotten dreams. Most people will never do this. They'll fight, fail, blame, and repeat the cycle. But those who endure and dare to ask these deeper questions find something far more valuable than temporary relief. They find themselves. This isn't about a miracle cure. It's about a mirror that shows you the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. If you can face them, even for a moment, you can begin to write a new story. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll delve deeper into the real method Jung used to help people like you finally break the cycle. And at the very end, you'll discover the hidden truth that can make all the difference if you're willing to see it. Don't let your shadow win by clicking away. The breakthrough is closer than you think. If you've made it this far, you're already different. Most people spend their entire lives running from discomfort, never pausing to ask what's really driving their cravings. Jung called this state possession, when an inner force acts as if it's in control and you're just along for the ride. You might say, I don't want to do this. But your hands, your mind, and your habits move anyway. It's as if you've become a stranger in your own body. Think about how many times you've promised yourself never again, only to find yourself returning to the same habit as if pulled by an invisible tide. The philosopher Epictetus once wrote, "No person is free who is not master of themselves." But Jung's genius was to show that self-mastery isn't about fighting the tide. It's about learning to read the currents beneath it. Addiction isn't just an action. It's a ritual. It's a script you perform whenever you feel lost, lonely, or overwhelmed. But here's the secret. Most people never learn. Every ritual holds meaning, and every habit is a clue. You don't crave the cigarette, the drink, or the endless scrolling for no reason. Each time, there's a trigger, an event, a feeling, or a thought that makes the world feel either too much or too little. Maybe it's stress after work. Maybe it's the silence before sleep. Or maybe it's seeing someone else's success while you feel left behind. The craving arrives not as a demand, but as a form of comfort. It whispers, let's not feel this right now. Let's just forget. Let's just disappear. But what if, for a moment, you didn't run? What if, as Jung would suggest, you turned and faced the craving, asking, why are you here? The answer might surprise you. Maybe it's not about the thing itself, but the feeling you're trying to avoid. Loneliness, the fear of not being enough, or the echo of an old, unhealed wound. Philosophy teaches us to ask questions even when the answers are painful. Psychology gives us the courage to sit with discomfort until it reveals what we need to know. You've been told 1,000 times to be disciplined and use willpower. But no one tells you the real secret. Willpower is a limited resource. Every time you resist, you're draining a well that will eventually run dry. When you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed, that well empties and the old pattern returns. Jung compared the unconscious to a vast ocean and your conscious will to a small boat. If you only focus on rowing harder, you'll get nowhere. But if you learn to read the waves and anticipate the storms, you can navigate with far less struggle. This is the real skill. Learning to notice your patterns without judgment, seeing the craving not as a failure, but as valuable information. Information about what is missing and what you truly want. Jung believed in the power of naming. He said, what you can name, you can tame. The next time the urge arises, instead of tensing up, pause and give it a name. This is anxiety. This is loneliness. This is the part of me that wants to be soothed. It may sound simple, even foolish, but the act of naming pulls the craving out of the shadows and into the light. The more clearly you see it, the less power it has over you. When you can say, I know why you're here, you begin to rewrite the story. This is where philosophy and psychology converge. The goal isn't to destroy the craving, but to integrate the lost part of yourself that's using the craving to cry for help. Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. To accept the craving not as an enemy, but as the voice of a wounded part, is to truly begin healing." How do you do this? Start with honesty. When you feel the urge, don't distract yourself or criticize yourself. Instead, ask, what am I avoiding? What pain have I refused to feel? What hope did I give up on long ago? You might feel fear, sadness, or even anger. That's okay. Most people turn back at this point, telling themselves it's too much. But every time you face your shadow, you reclaim a little more of your power. You won't become free in a single day, but every time you bring awareness to your cravings, you loosen the chains. Every moment of curiosity is a victory over the old script. Philosophy asks us to endure the discomfort of not knowing, to sit in the unknown and trust that something new will emerge. Jung's psychology is an invitation to patience. Change doesn't happen all at once, but each act of awareness, each honest question, plants a seed for the future. As you learn to listen, not run, not numb, not distract, you begin to discover a new, wiser voice inside. A voice that doesn't need to shout or threaten. A voice that says, I see you. I know you're hurting, but you don't need to escape anymore. You can stay. This is the beginning of self-trust. This is what Jung called individuation. The journey of becoming whole, not by cutting away the parts you dislike, but by welcoming them all home. Most people will never know this feeling. They'll spend their lives chasing relief and missing the lesson. But you, by staying, are already on the less traveled path. You might not feel free yet, and that's okay. Freedom isn't a single moment, it's a process. It's the result of 1,000 small acts of courage, 1,000 moments of turning toward your pain, not away. The journey continues. In the next part, you'll learn the final step: how to use the energy of your cravings as fuel for transformation, not self-destruction. And you'll discover the truth Jung reserved for his bravest students, a truth that turns addiction into a teacher, not a curse. Don't miss it, because this last lesson changes everything. The alchemy of craving. You've made it this far through the difficult questions and the hidden rooms of your own mind. Most people would have left by now, scared off by the discomfort or the fear that nothing can change. But you stayed. That already means something. It means you're not just looking for relief, you're looking for transformation. Carl Jung didn't believe in shortcuts. He believed in alchemy. He saw life as a process of turning lead into gold, not by throwing away what is dark or heavy, but by melting it down, understanding it, and allowing it to be changed by your awareness. Think about the urge, the craving, the pull toward your old habits. Every time it arises, it's like a spark, full of energy and potential. Most people waste that energy by fighting it, running from it, numbing it, or feeling shame for it. But what if you learn to use that spark instead of trying to put it out? The alchemists believed that every poison can be turned into medicine if you know the secret. Jung believed that your craving, your addiction, is the very material from which your new self can be forged. Turning poison into power starts with a shift in your mindset. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this feeling? Ask, what can I learn from it? How can I use its energy? Craving is energy. It's your mind's way of saying something is missing, something needs to move. When you feel the urge, don't waste it, channel it. If you're craving a cigarette, use that moment as a cue to take a deep breath, to move your body, to write down your thoughts, or to create something, even if it's just one honest sentence about how you feel. This is the difference between unconscious repetition and conscious transformation. You can't always stop the urge from coming, but you can choose what you do with it. Over time, this practice changes your relationship with yourself. Jung observed that people who overcame addiction didn't just quit. They replaced one ritual with another, one pattern with something more meaningful. You need new rituals, new ways to use the energy that once fueled your cravings. If you always reached for your habit during times of stress, try pausing and feeling the ground beneath your feet instead. If you used to numb your mind before sleep, try journaling the one truth you're most afraid to admit. If you want to run from discomfort, try moving toward it for 60 seconds, naming it, breathing through it, and allowing yourself to feel it fully. Small, mindful rituals are the tools of transformation, from shadow to self. Jung believed the purpose of life is individuation, the process of becoming whole by integrating all the lost, rejected, or feared parts of yourself. Addiction shows you where your wounds are, but also where your greatest energy lies. The shadow isn't your enemy. It's your guide to your own hidden potential. Every time you pause and face your craving, you reclaim a little more of your power. You become less divided, more unified, and more truly yourself. Slowly, your identity changes. You're no longer the addict, the lost cause, or the one who can't change. You become the observer, the chooser, the alchemist, someone who can hold pain, longing, and fear, and still move forward with purpose. This is a new identity. You might wonder, how will I know if I'm really changing? The answer isn't dramatic, it's quiet. You notice the voice of shame gets softer. You notice you don't need to hide from yourself as much. You catch yourself pausing, reflecting, and choosing just once, and then again. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust grows one small act at a time. Most people measure change by big victories or long streaks of sobriety. But real transformation, Jung believed, is measured by your willingness to show up honestly for yourself, day after day, no matter what. Here's the payoff most people never expect. The journey through addiction isn't just about quitting a habit. It's about discovering a new relationship with yourself. You start to realize that you're stronger than you thought, wiser than you believed, and more capable of holding discomfort than you ever imagined. You stop seeing yourself as broken and start seeing yourself as brave. Jung wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That is your truth too. Now for one final challenge. If you've watched until the end, you've already proven you're not like most people. You are ready to meet your cravings with curiosity, your shadow with compassion, and your wounds with the willingness to heal. So here's the final step. Every time the urge returns, use it as a bell, a reminder to check in with your deepest self. Ask, what do I truly need right now? What is my soul hungry for? Connection, truth, meaning, rest. Then find a small, honest way to give it to yourself. Every time you do, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen the new one. Addiction wants you to believe you're stuck forever. That's a lie. The truth is, you are changing every day, and every small act of awareness is a victory. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to keep showing up. If you made it to the end, you're not just watching a video. You're doing the work most people avoid for a lifetime. Hold on to that, because as Jung knew, the freedom you seek was always waiting for you, just beneath the shadow, just inside the craving, just on the other side of the fear. You'll never let addiction win again, not after this.